So on January 12 this year, Deloitte, the biggest marketplace of reinsurance and insurance in the world based off London, had awarded a multi-million contracts, basically has been awarded a multi-million pound contracts to completely digitize the infrastructure of a century-old organization. We are Digitech, and we are exactly in the business of replacing Excel and email for the reinsurer and insurers all over Africa. So the problem that we're trying to solve is huge. 99% of the reinsurance policies currently processed in Africa, especially in the red countries that you see here, are done through Excel and email, so manually. And this exposes all those companies to huge operational losses and huge operational risk. 200 companies in the red countries and 500 companies total in Africa are operating this way, okay? What is really nice is that despite the fact that Africa in total is a 70 billion USD insurance market with about 6 to 9 B for reinsurance, this industry is poised to grow well over the GDP for the next 10 years to come. And it's poised to reach 100 B in total and between 18 to 20 B for the reinsurance portion. And all the big thinkers in the world, including PwC, Deloitte, Bain & Company, McKinsey, etc., think that the size of the pie globally could reach 10 B through the usage of digital technologies, RBPA, machine learning, and blockchain, etc. And we just didn't wait for that. We put together a platform which is exactly doing this, a platform which is now processing millions of policies intelligently from end to end and automated up to 80% of the processes happening between the reinsurers and the insurers. And in terms of traction, by the 31st of March, 2022, we had processed in total 13 million policies for 185 companies spanning 14 countries and manipulating in the process well over 130 million USD in gross written premium. Why we're different? We are born in the clouds and we native in the cloud. So our time to market, our policy process automation, our possibility to trace the life cycle of the policy end to end, and the compatibility to existing legacy system is unparalleled. So that's helped us to deploy in days or weeks instead of normal months or years for existing software companies. And we're able to do this because our pipeline strategy is very strong. We plan to basically build those commodities basically on those free products that you can see that are going to touch upon the reinsurers, the insurers, and even the pension funds. And we'll keep building value-added services and product on top of those commoditized products in the next few years to come. Our revenue model is was historically based on the onboarding fee, which is being quickly replaced by policy processing fee. Just to give you an example, once we're able to charge 10 cents per policy, we'll be able to get 100,000 USD per month, for example, if we process 1 million policies on a monthly basis. And what is really going to propel us into this space is the fact that we're going to build an instant payment clearing house to basically get a piece of that chunk, which represents 9B, which is the size of the transaction of the current reinsurance market in Africa. And that could yield 45 million USD by year 2030. And that leads us to a fantastic investment opportunity. We're currently raising 1.5 million USD to be able to, which is going to be spent on technology and team, okay? And basically, this is going to help us consolidate in the next 14 African geographies we're targeting and also enter the rest of the African footprint. We target a 2026 exit value of 500 M. So the team behind this is constituted by myself. I hold multiple degrees, including an MBA from Hult and a certificate from the MIT in blockchain. And I'm surrounded by multiple PhDs, including our Chief Actuary Officer and our Chief Technology Officer. So collectively, we bring 60 years of experience working in 3 continents, Europe, Africa, and a bit of Asia, in insurance, reinsurance, telecom, technology, and actual science. My latest position for a corporate was in Tanzania, in East Africa, where basically we were able to solve a key issue of insurance penetration. We grew from 0 subscribers to 500,000 subscribers, and that's played a huge role in inspiring me to what I currently do. So my name is Alex, and I'm a co-founder and CEO of Digitech. Thank you for listening to my pitch, guys.
Thank you, great job. And I'm going to turn it over to the panelists, and it is Chris's turn.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that. I mean, one, congrats on the traction to date. You know, clearly you have a real business and it's up and running. I think a couple of kind of points on there. I think one, and this is just a general, is like I never really put like an exit at the earliest days. I think one, it's a little early to start talking about exit, and 500 million also, there'll be a lot of people that say, well, I need to see $1 billion plus, or they have some number in their head. Like, force your investor to come up with that number. Sometimes that because they need to justify an investment. There'll be a certain number that gets there based off their ownership percentage, et cetera. So I know that's, in the end, that would be a great outcome for you guys as well. But force the investor to do that part. I think for me, the things that I really liked was, you know, it strikes me as, so this is a mandated market, right? Like reinsurance is mandated in the geographies in which you're serving, and your ability to automate a heavily manual process. And I think is great. If it strikes me as, we're here, this needs to happen, everyone recognizes that there's a challenge. I think clearly one of the biggest things you're going to run into, particularly with American investors, is skepticism of the market, right? So it's regulated, or it's mandated from a regulatory perspective today. How enforced is this? What's the regulation? What's the regulatory risk? Is there an opportunity for you to become a standard or pushed by those regulatory bodies? I think helping me understand the landscape of regulation within the markets in which you serve is probably very helpful within there. I think that I didn't quite understand. I'd love a little bit better understanding of like competition or exactly how it gets done. I think I understand the idea of manual, but just hit it home for me. Give me something visually that helps me understand are we talking spreadsheet, or are we talking like PDF files, et cetera, things like that. And I would like to see the product itself. Like, I'd like to see exactly what that looks and feels like to some degree. And you know, this is one of the things that I would say on the last one, which is I think you could benefit from looking at a professional designer for the deck as well. I think you've got a good story. You've got a big business. I think you're going to get a lot of people to ask us more questions because they're going to see Africa as a huge opportunity in digitization of that continent and this particular industry. But I think this is one where getting a designer who really makes the deck sing visually will actually be a real big ROI.
That's good feedback. Yeah, because a bunch of my thoughts are, early on, you should and probably can assume, outside of PitchBreakfast and outside of the RevTech labs, that you'll have a targeted audience that understands the inefficiencies embedded in your target market. But you still have to make the point clearly that you understand what the inefficiencies are and what the edge is that you guys are bringing to your business. It's like, that's always, in my mind, like, has to be upfront. And it's whether you had 30 seconds in the parking lot here on the way out to explain to me why, or you had six minutes or 30 minutes. It's like, to Chris's point, right? The catalyst here is that there's a regulatory framework in Africa now that is forcing this change. we have put together a team that understands this, and we have some first mover advantage and embedded edge based on our collective experience. Like, I know it sounds super simple, but if you say that up front, I'm not thinking and questioning whether or not you guys have that, right? You have to nail that for me, at least. That's how I like to see it kind of sequence. So it's hypothesis is rooted in some structural or market change. You're hitting a regulatory trigger. This is the team. This is why we have an edge. This is how we're employing that edge. And then you can get into what I would call the finer points and we're raising X million, $1 million, $1.5 million to test and prove the following 3 assumptions. Stop there. Like, that's your Series A pitch. To Chris's point, like, don't talk about exits, don't talk about valuations. It's like embedded edge. I need $1 million. Here's what we're going to test and learn on. And oh, by the way, we already have 300,000 of revenue, right? Because we're employing that edge. So that's how I would structure and kind of flow the content. And you could probably do that verbally much better than you could do with slides, would be my guess. If it was you and I at a dinner, you probably would have nailed that. But since the slides are here, right, you get forced into too much talking, too many ideas. Yeah. So that's my feedback.
Yeah, that's a good call out. I think nobody today has said I'm raising X and I'm going to achieve X, ABC. That's always a good sanity check for us as an investor. It's got to be more than just revenue, but I'm gonna accomplish the following 3 things. So I can benchmark whether or not I think those accomplishments are next round fundable type accomplishments.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you guys for the feedback. Very useful. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, good luck.
Good luck. Congrats.
Great, thank you.